Welcome to Specifically About Quality, the podcast by Qualitywise, where we explore the principles, practices, and challenges of modern quality management. We will discuss key concepts, share real-world examples, and bring clarity to the complexities of quality management. In each episode, we provide insights for quality managers and professionals, helping you lead with confidence, ensure compliance, and drive continuous improvement. This podcast is here to support your work and your impact. Clear, focused, practical. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Qualitywise podcast, where we turn quality into real-world solutions. I'm Agata Lewkowska, a quality management system expert, and I've been working with quality managers and production teams since 2007. Today with me is Christopher Scott.
I'm Christopher Scott, and I've spent most of my career in automotive quality assurance and operational excellence. Let me take the opportunity to thank you for the great feedback after our previous podcast episode, Why Quality is Everyone's Job, but Still No One's Priority. Thank you again. In today's episode, a big one.
Yes. We're talking about something that's at the heart of quality success. How quality managers can work effectively with production teams. Because let's be honest, it's not always, I would say, smooth sailing.
Definitely not. So you've got pressure, deadlines, misunderstanding, and sometimes the classic us versus them mentality.
So where the tension comes from? So let's start by naming the elephant in the room. Why does this relationship often feel tense?
I think in my experience, a lot of it comes from misaligned goals or objectives. Production is focused on output and flow, whereas quality is focused on conformity and prevention of defects. So when something goes wrong, fingers get pointed. It's always the case. We've seen this on LinkedIn. There's a diagram going around where it says production versus quality.
So we can say that the reality can be that actually both sides are right in a way, but without mutual understanding, it turns into, let's say, a kind of conflict. So quality, of course, has an advantage because they know the requirements and it's easy for them just to jump into their roles, yes? And they care about customer satisfaction because simply, again, they know the requirements. But for production, more important is delivery performance, which is connected to the production processes efficiency simply. So this can be also the reason, yes? What would you say, Chris?
I would say also to that is the language that's used. So quality managers, we're often guilty of that in our roles as quality experts, that we talk in legalese or audit terms. So these are things like evidence of implementation or documented information, meeting customer requirements or interested parties. Quality managers do so because they simply know the requirements, but production does not. This can be the reason for why they think in cycles, shifts, and parts, as opposed to requirements and clauses.
Yes, you're right. So if you tell a line leader, this isn't compliant with the clause, let me say, 8512 in IATF 16949, which stands for standardized work, simply you've lost them. No one knows what is inside IATF unless you work with this standard on a daily basis. But if you say, if you will not follow all the process steps in working instructions, this could lead to defects during customer, for instance, even assembly. So now you've got their attention because you speak their language, yes? You are translating the requirements into daily job, yes? So let's talk about building trust on the shop floor.
Okay, so let's talk about what does work. So what would be your number one tip, Agata?
First of all, be visible, get out of your office. So walk the floor, ask real questions, and simply, there is one perfect word for this, do Gemba walk. Gemba walk is a cross-functional activity. Actually, it should be cross-functional, where a team of people observe the general operations of a factory, workplace, production line, and so on. And this activity intends to see where there are non-value added operations, deviations maybe from the standard operations, and where the process can be further improved. So why should we do a Gemba walk? Well, do you want to improve your margins, or maybe operating efficiency, or maybe brand image or product quality? I think it's unlikely you would say no to at least one of this, what I said now. So there is only one solution. Then a Gemba walk can help you to find issues, create improvement plans, and simply sustain best practices.
So you need to listen more than you talk. Production operators have deep insights. They just need someone to listen. They do the job every day. They know what works, what doesn't work. So no wonder it is good practice to invite operators in work instruction creation. So these are standard operating sheet creation, or even design and development phases of the process. So just because someone has a design degree and they attended university doesn't mean they know how to design for manufacture and what's best for assembly. And sometimes that input from the operators, the people who are going to do the work, it's important that the design engineer understands how difficult something is to assemble, how hard it is to fit together, if the operator needs special lubricants or greases to help them do the job. These are all things that are critical to the success of the operation, and that's why we should invite the operators.
I would say to embrace our diversity as like we all have different experiences, and we should appreciate this, yes, that everyone can give different input into the discussion, yes. So also going further, don't only show up when something is wrong, yes. Quality shouldn't be present only when there are issues, yes, because that builds a reputation, yes. You should show up when things are going well as well, yes. It can show your interest. So such attitude is building trust on the shop floor. We have been talking about this when we discussed in the first episode, quality culture. So we invite you really to come back to the first episode of Qualitywise podcast and simply listen to this, because also there we gave you quite nice examples how you can strengthen your quality culture.
Yes, and I worked with a quality manager that had 10-minute morning rounds. So every day, she'd walk to a different area, ask one question, and say thank you. That changed the entire perception of quality. So as you said in your example, if you're always there when things go wrong, people remember the bad things, not the good. And it's about praising, doing positive things, and explaining to people, thank you very much. So you did something which actually improved quality, or you did something which stopped a problem getting to the customer, or the next process. These are all good things where people are not afraid to hold up their hand and say, there's a problem and I don't believe this is the right thing to do. It builds that ownership and honesty.
So maybe let's talk about tools. I will call them tools. I already mentioned formalized approach like Gemba, if it is present in our organization. However, we don't have to call it Gemba, just we are present on the shop floor. But what practical methods actually support this relationship between quality and production people? What would you say, Chris?
So I think we should start thinking about the product lifecycle in project management. One of the elements in APQP, so Advanced Product Quality Planning, or IUTF 16949 requirements, is something called DFM and DFA. What does this mean? So DFM stands for Design for Manufacture, and DFA is Design for Assembly. I mentioned that earlier in the example, but we're going to explain a little bit more about that. So it must be done multidisciplinary. Why not invite people from production, from different levels, to design our processes, to get engagement, best practices, and if anyone's going to cut a corner or find an efficient way, it's the people who do the job. It's the same with failure mode and effects analysis and control plans. So when reviewed with production, not just hand it over to them and say, there you go, follow the actual the control plan. Make sure what's in the plan is actually happening on the line. And I saw that more recently on a supplier audit where that wasn't happening.
When you said FMEA, I just had a thought, reverse FMEA. Yes, when we already have FMEA created, and now we are verifying if this is complete, if the risks changed, which solution we have, are we updated, and so on and so on. Let's mention about problem solving. Like, for instance, root cause analysis, so application of, for instance, 5Y or other small root cause reviewing methods involving operators. Let them help solve the problems. They know the process by heart, probably very well. They stand in the process few hours per day. They're really quite acquainted with this, what is happening there. They often know the why. We just need to ask.
Yeah, and I think poka-yoke examples, and for those who don't speak Japanese, that means mistake-proof. And it means visual controls, making quality tangible and visible, not abstract.
Actually, I would say not even mistake-proofing, but error-proofing, because error-proofing will protect even from creating the defect, and mistake-proofing, we need to stop already created defect to go farther in the process, yes? And when you update documents, include feedback from production. Even a 5-minute review before publishing can make a huge difference in buying in. We have been talking in last second episode about quality as everyone's job, about the role of the responsibilities, yes, and definition of these responsibilities. Christopher mentioned about RASIC matrix. So this can be also a tool, how it can be applied in this area between quality and production. Yes. So daily practices that support cooperation, Chris. Can we talk here more?
Yeah, so let's talk routines. How can we make quality a part of the production rhythm?
Oh, yes, good and wide question. So I must say that I love quality boards on the shop floor, managed by the team. So visual management, in fact, definitely they are aligned to some distinct with quality requirements in our plant. A good example is even competence matrix, which defines people's eligibility to perform specific work. Competence matrix is one of the first things what I'm checking during the audits, especially when there is a shift change, by the way. Another example is reaction plan, also something which is extremely connected to the control plan. And reaction plan can be presented in different ways, yes? But let's maybe say about the example that it can be presented in the way of organizational structure, yes? Who in the structure is responsible for what, yes? And why shall we visualize top issues? Oh, this is important because it is also connected to the requirements connected with awareness, that we should be aware of the consequences of not meeting the requirements, or even another requirements connected to top issues like even customer complaints and field failure test analysis. Yes, so here we are in ITF in chapter 10. Yes, where the organization shall communicate the results of analysis of testing not only to the customer, of course this is the basic, but also within the organization, because also this can influence the awareness that we know what happened because we did not keep the quality. Yes. On such quality boards, we can also present execution of LPA's audits, layered process audits. Yes, it can be as a schedule, KPIs, or even action plan if something was found during such audit. And as already mentioned in this episode, there could be also a space for fast problem solving for internal production issues. Yes, we already mentioned about inviting production for problem solving, like even with 5Y. Why not have such a space for fast problem solving in this 5Y discipline on such board? Yes. Of course, it would be more beneficial to the organization when such quality boards on the shop floor can be reviewed daily. But generally, this is the decision of each organization, how frequent it could be done. But generally, between quality and production.
Like, for example, morning stand-ups with a 2-minute quality check-in. So these are things that don't need to be complex. Even asking any issues yesterday. Are we on time with any actions defined for this week, maybe, or within the end of the business day? I think that opens up dialogue. But to give some more examples, I've seen examples where they have something called a red table review, where every morning they look at the different issues, they assign actions, things that they have to fix within certain timeframes. Another example is called tier meetings, where a tier 1 meeting is where maybe team leaders talk about the issue. The tier 2 goes to the more severe actions you've explained in the organization. And there's clear rules and responsibilities and critical gateways to go up a level eventually when you get to the CEO. So I think these are different good examples. I mean, I've used one of myself where whenever I do a team meeting in the morning, I say, what did you do yesterday that you need to do today that wasn't carried over, and so on. It's really important in terms of issue management and task management to define what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how important it is.
Mm-hmm. And in this example, what you've said, did you, let's say, celebrate improvements? For instance, if scrap ratio went down or a team caught a defect early, was it celebrated anyway?
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, especially when I've led as a quality manager to do that improvement, it's important not to take the credit for other people. It's important for them to say it out loud and be proud of the achievements they've achieved. So, for example, scrap directly affects the margins and the bottom line. It affects the operational performance. It means you have to have higher capacity rates or do extra shifts or pay people overtime and so on. So ultimately, you're having more profitability for the business. It means people don't have to stop back to catch back for all the problems. And I think for culture, it's built through reputation and reinforcement. So this means that if production only hears about quality when something's wrong, you've really lost half the battle.
Mm-hmm. Let's collect quick tips for quality managers, yes? What, Chris, are your top 3 do's and don'ts for working with production teams?
Great. So my experience, the do's. Be present on the shop floor. And what does this mean? It means regularly join Gemba walks. You're going to hear this a lot in the podcasts that we're going to mention Gembas. So why is that important? Show interest in their challenges. I think using plain language, like I said earlier about, not using audited language or quality terminology. Focus on product impact and customer satisfaction. Explain why something matters, not just what to do. I think to show and communicate small improvements. These are, they don't have to be big wins. They can be small wins, daily wins, hourly wins. Recognize improvements, even minor ones. Things where it's even slightly improved the process is better than not improving it at all. Now, moving on to the negatives, the don'ts. Don't show up only during problems, only when something is hit the fan, as it were. Talk only in audit language. That's not good. And don't blame without any context. So I've worked with part of organizations that don't blame and some that do. Don't blame people. So as I said, give credit to production teams during audits, say what they did well, how they supported, where they can improve. Share the success stories from the audits or customers. When a customer is really happy with the product and they're happy with the great job that someone did, obviously praise them. It's the right thing to do. We invite you to read the article on Qualitywise blog about human error. And this is to discuss why human error happens and what you can do to prevent it.
Mm-hmm. So now mine do's, yes. I would say that always the cooperation goes smoothly if we build a good relationship. Yes. So quality also needs to work on having good relationship with line leaders, maybe by recognizing improvements, like you've said, even minor ones. But also publicly appreciate teamwork between quality and production. This can be done through maybe town hall meetings in the organization where leadership is just communicating the effectiveness of quality management system. Could be a good opportunity. Another do's, ask how I can help you. Ask questions, not just check compliance, because this will also show your interest in production challenges, yes? So also remember that consistency builds visibility and trust, yes? And last thing what is coming on my mind is make quality a shared goal. So again, this is connected to quality culture, and reinforce that everyone owns quality. Yes. So we already have the last Qualitywise episode discussing the role of quality and the ownership for quality. Encourage operators to react to nonconformities if needed, yes. And maybe I would say that KPIs. KPIs are also important, yes, because this can be also connected to a kind of reward system. My list of don'ts, I would say, do not create documents that no one uses, yes, because this means that production can feel overwhelmed. Recently, I had a workshop where one of the goal for a person who took part in it was not primary goal, but it was expressed, was I want to reduce the number of forms, yes, because it's too much for me and I'm consuming too much time. And you, dear quality, you created for us that I need to have TPM, 5S, first pissed article, and setup verification. Of course, last two are extremely important. However, maybe let's do it lean. Dismiss feedback from operators is also not a good way of building the relationship. So this feedback is actually something extremely valuable. And I would say I would ask for such feedback. Yes. And also wait for management review to share good news is not good time frequency, because let's remember, dear quality managers, do not say about good things when they are not happening just at the time when you want to communicate. I mean, management review, for instance, is a meeting for leadership which can take, in ITF at least, annually. So such time frame will actually make that all the success stories are fading simply, yes. And probably they would not have that big value like exactly when they are happening.
I think that's a great point. I think just to add finally on that, if you only do it in the management reviews, that build of tension and anxiety by the operators and the teams in production are worried about when it goes wrong or if something's bad or if nothing's been said. So it's really important, as you say, to try and do that frequently as soon as possible to either correct the deviations or to tell them what are the positive success stories of that review. But I think to wrap up, building a partnership with production isn't fast, but it's the single most important thing a quality manager can do.
And when you do it right, it changes everything. At Qualitywise, we offer hands-on workshops, quality management system reviews, and coaching to help your quality team connect better with production. If you want to strengthen communication, clarity shared tools, and build a real partnership between quality and production, we're here to help.
Visit qualitywise.pl and download our free checklist, 5 ways to build stronger production quality relationships. You'll also find links to training offers. Thanks for listening, and remember, quality is a team sport.
Thank you for listening to Specifically About Quality, a podcast by Qualitywise. If you found today's episode valuable, consider subscribing, commenting, and sharing it with colleagues who care about quality as much as you do. Until next time, stay focused, stay consistent, and keep rising the standard.